Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 96th edition of the Wildcat Sports Network and the second edition of the Inside of 6A show. I'm Richard Largaspada.
And I'm Connor Jenkins, and we've got an even better show than last time.
Really?
Yeah.
I personally think that last show was the best show we've ever done.
Me and you didn't watch the same shows, but we're back and ready to go.
All right, then let's get to it.
Inside the 6A starts right now. Welcome back, everybody, and now we're going to start the show off with some previous matchups from the girls' side. First, we bring in analyst Trevor Lawson to discuss this with me and Richard. Trevor, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's start it off with that Heritage in double overtime beats Bentonville 61-58. That is an amazing game. Trevor, I mean, you watched a little bit of this. Tell us about it.
This game, it was close throughout, and I think what really surprised me is I went into this game thinking I thought Bentonville was the superior team, and I think that also maybe got into their head a little bit because they looked a little sloppy in the beginning, and I think they cut it to a tie, obviously, to get it to overtime, which was the only overtime game that's happened in the girls' side of the 7A West, or 6A West, my bad, all season. So, I mean, close throughout. It was an impressive game by Rogers Heritage for sure.
And a very impressive game. And Richard, what did you think about that game, especially since it was so important to the standings?
Yes, that game was very important to the standings as far as now there's 3 teams in the girls division for the 6A West that are tied for that number 2 slot.
Yeah, a 3-way tie between HAR-BER High School, Rogers Heritage, as well as Bentonville Tigers. They all stand at 5-2 when the show is airing. We had some games postponed on January 24th, so going to be really rough to see how that goes. 3-way tie is now 6-1 Northside. They've been very dominant this season. They were supposed to play Rogers Heritage on Tuesday, but were not able to play due to the inclement weather. How good of a game would that have been, Trevor?
I think legitimately it would have been one of the top games we would have seen all year, because I think Northside's going into that and they're trying to, because they're bouncing from one tough game and they're just going to try to keep extending their lead, because Northside, they're new up here in the 6A West. They want to kind of put their mark on this like conference, like this division. So they want to make sure they're known as being the top team from up here, and playing Heritage and proving their point would be very important for their playoff seeding.
And speaking of Northside, Bentonville a few games ago beats Northside 51-38, a statement game for Bentonville Tigers, and what I consider to be an upset. You had an undefeated Northside team. That's their one loss. They're 6-1, and Bentonville knocks them off, but then Bentonville loses to Rogers Heritage. So it's a little interesting, a lot more fluidity in the spots here. Richard, what do you think about this situation?
Well, you may call it an upset. I don't think it's an upset at all. I definitely think those top 4 teams in the girls' conference are really gonna eventually, when it all comes down to it, they are all gonna. You're just going to see a lot of changings in those standings. They're just going to keep fighting and fighting. So to me, that wasn't an upset at all. You know, you have Northside, Heritage, Bentonville, and HAR-BER, you know, just fighting for those top 3 spots or that number 1 spot. So to me, I thought it was a very fun game. But, like, overall, I definitely think that Bentonville definitely just showed what they had. And I definitely think they could beat Northside again if they could.
Bentonville, a very explosive team, as well as, let's talk about Rogers, and I like to call them the 6A West anomaly. Very interesting team with wins over Bentonville and Heritage, but a loss to Bentonville West, and so they've got wins against teams that are the topper echelon, but losses against teams that are in the bottom echelon. I mean, this is a very interesting situation.
Yeah, I think that what also is affecting Rogers is maybe their play is very inconsistent, but the thing about Rogers, you don't want to run into a good Rogers team on a good night, because that team, like you said, they can beat anybody, but they can also lose to anybody. So those are the teams you got to be careful of, because they could end up getting the 5 or 6 seed from the West, and I could see them upsetting a 3 seed from all the way from the Central and making a playoff run.
Right now, currently sitting at the 5 seed are Rogers girls. They sit at 3-3 overall record, and with 2 huge wins in it. They haven't played Northside yet. Or no, they did play Northside. They played them pretty close. The score of that game, if I can find it real quick, it was a pretty good game. I do remember. Let's see. I apologize. 52-46. So they played them within 6 points. Rogers has done an amazing job, but then you turn around, and this is where I say anomaly. You turn around, and they lose by 40 to the Har-BER Wildcats. By 40. It was a 64-24 game. That's insane for a 40-point win for the Wildcats, who are really on a 5-game win streak right now and are propelling themselves to a topper echelon team.
Yeah, I think what's helping Har-BER with this, sure they may have had a struggle at the beginning of the year, but they're starting to make more shots. They're starting to look more consistent from the line. Their post defense, that was the main concern I had for Har-BER, because like in that Bentonville game they played, it was just post play by Bentonville is what won them that game against Har-BER, and I think that's really improved over the last week or so.
Yeah, and if Har-BER keeps playing at this level, they're right now they're improving their footing, and if they keep playing at this level, they can hopefully. And I think they definitely can. They definitely have a good chance of making one of those top seeds in the 6A West. Especially if they didn't get upsetted by the upset Kings and Rogers. Speaking of Rogers, I sat down with Coach Preston Early from the girls Rogers basketball program. But before we get into that, we're going to hear from a few of our sponsors who help make this show possible. We'll come back and we'll have the interview. The Inside the 6A, we'll be right back.
Welcome to McClarty Daniel Country.
With 6 giant locations and over 3,000 vehicles, Northwest Arkansas is McClarty Daniel Country. Stop by one of our showrooms today to shop our full lineup of cars, trucks, and SUVs.
McClarty Daniel is proud to be your premier automotive destination.
Need service? We work on all makes and models 6 days a week. Plus, our full-service collision center can repair anything, from a minor ding to a major collision. Have you visited McClarty Daniel Country?
Visit us online at mcclartydaniel.com.
Ballpark Franks got their start in 1957, right here in the ballpark. And with the taste of 100% Angus beef, passed down from one generation to the next, they soon became a tradition everywhere, bringing on the feeling of summer in every bite. Ballpark Franks, bring on summer.
At Northwest Health, you can check in online for urgent care and ER visits. This simple step lets you pick a time that's convenient and saves your spot in line before you arrive. It's our new approach to the waiting room. Visit mynorthwestanycare.com.
Experience everything Springdale has to offer. Visit ExploreSpringdale.com or download the new Explore Springdale app. It's the best place to discover all there is to do and see in Springdale. We'll help you explore our many eateries and attractions and introduce you to our shopping, arts, parks, and trails. You'll also find links to our great hotels and meeting venues. Download the new Explore Springdale app or visit ExploreSpringdale.com to begin your Springdale adventure.
Are you ready for a new career opportunity? Ready for
Teamwork.
Ready for
competitive benefits.
Ready for
a friendly culture.
Ready for
Stability and growth.
Ready for
Limitless opportunities.
Cintas, ready for the workday.
It's hot, and so are the savings at Springdale Tractor Company when you buy the Kubota L-Series tractor package. Right now, the Kubota L2501 DT tractor and loader, it's just $18,500 cash. Or choose zero down with 0.99% financing up to 60 months. Save green when you buy orange and the Kubota L-Series tractor package from Springdale Tractor Company. If you need it now, don't wait. Come see us in Springdale at 6160 West Sunset Avenue or shop online at springdaletractor.com.
Hello and welcome. Joining us now is head coach for the girls basketball team, Coach Preston Early. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. I really appreciate this. I love that you guys have this show.
Yeah, well, we're happy you're here. Well, I'm just going to start it off. You guys are 3-3 on the year. What has been your point of view on how the season's been going so far?
So, I feel like we've had a team that's just we're developing. We started out with a lot of inexperience and a lot of young kids, but we knew we had some talent that just needed some seasoning, and we've had a tough non-conference schedule, and it's led to some ups and downs, and we've battled confidence and learning how to win, but we feel like, and we're hoping that maybe we've turned a corner in learning how to play hard consistently and put together some production with that effort, and and our kids have really done some tough things as of late.
All right. And so I know you and Connor Jenkins know you guys as the Upset Kings after upsetting 2 of the top 4 teams in Bentonville and Heritage. How do you feel about that title?
Well, you know, I like the nickname. I'm a nickname guy myself, and so we'll take it because that means we've done something significant. So I think it's a credit to our kids for, you know, buying into the fact that, listen, we're going to have a chance if we can do some things well, and we have a way that we need to play. And when we do that, and when we've put effort in there consistently, you know, I think that has produced results. And so getting our kids to understand there's a process to winning, that you don't just hope for a result or go into a game and worry about the result. It's like possession by possession, things that you do that affect winning, and eventually the outcome will take care of itself.
Yes, most definitely. And another thing I want to talk to you about, you guys lost some pretty important players due to some transfers or just losing a ton of seniors, but one of the returning players is Treadwell. Can you expand more on her importance to the team?
Well, she's our team captain. She's our point guard, just very dynamic. We try not to take her off the court unless we have to. You know, she stepped on a cheerleader's foot the other day and had a sprained ankle, missed about 3 or 4 minutes of game time. But other than that, you know, we like to have her out there just for the energy, the intensity, the maturity. You know, she's a kid that's played in our program 4 years because we moved her up as a freshman. And so she's got a ton of experience and a ton of experience playing good teams like what we're going to see tonight. So it's a tremendous confidence boost to have her out there. And she's just, you know, she's done what you would hope a kid like her would do with that type of ability and that type of experience. She's stepped out on a nightly basis and produced, and I think that's helped some of our younger guys follow along and learn how what it takes to compete in this league.
All right, and another thing I want to talk about, you listed in a magazine that your main concern this year was being young and unproven. So can you expand on how you feel like you've overcome that obstacle this season?
Well, I think we probably honestly overscheduled a group that was as inexperienced as we are. But now that I look back on it, having scheduled the guys playing Russellville on the road, Morrilton on the road, and then some of the tournaments where we've played some of the top-notch teams, I look across the polls that come out every, you know, we've played the #1 ranked team in Kansas, and I think some of that stuff, we took some lumps, but we learned some lessons, and I think our players were young enough that they didn't get discouraged. And so I think what it did is it helped us develop. So that was a concern because you're always afraid, okay, do these guys know what they're getting into, and can they stay persistent and keep their confidence if we take some non-conference lumps? And they have. I've been proud of them for their resiliency. And, you know, as of late, we've been able to, you know, have some dividends because of what we've been through in the fall and early on in the conference season.
All right. And the last thing I want to talk to you about, we're almost halfway to the point of conference play, I'm sorry. What will you look to do in the second half and then the playoffs?
Well, we got to keep finding ways to get some wins. But we know that, like I was telling you, what we're preaching to our players, we can't get caught up in being so result-oriented. We have to follow a certain process. It seems like over the last 10 days, our team has really stepped up their investment in preparation. Our work ethic has gone up. We're competing harder. And so I think for us, we know we've got to get to a certain number of wins to get into the state tournament. But I know if I put that kind of pressure on them, they don't handle that well. So what we're trying to do is keep it in short-term goals. We know we have our hands full tonight with HAR-BER, but obviously I think all the teams in our league want to be in that state tournament, because if you can just get in that state tournament and get hot for 3 days, you know, you can make some magic happen. And so that's what our goal is, and end up peaking at the end of the year.
All right. Coach, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck on tonight's game.
I was happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
Of course. Back to you, Connor.
Welcome back, and now we're going to talk the previous matchup of the boys' side, bringing in analysts both Scott Porter and Jacob Fontenopoulos. Font and Scott, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's talk into it. So let's start off with the HAR-BER beats Fayetteville at Fayetteville for the first time in Coach Deffenbaugh's entire coaching career. He's been coaching at HAR-BER High School for 4 years now, and so in a 4-year career, he has not gotten a single win. Font, how big was that for the HAR-BER Wildcats and Coach Deffenbaugh?
Yeah, it was big. I mean, Coach Deffenbaugh obviously was really excited about that game, not just for him, obviously, but just as our team, you know, be able to go into Fayetteville, which is obviously a hard place to win, never won there before. And, I mean, just have your best weapons in Nate Kingsbury and your big shut down by Fayetteville's defense. Having other players step up, such as Keegan Lehman and Hayden Wood, be able to knock down shots. And then Jackson's obviously the last second bucket and one to seal the game. It's just, that's how you win in a tough situation, in a tough environment like Fayetteville. And I think that speaks big of HAR-BER and big of Fayetteville too.
And Scott, what was your take on that game?
Well, I thought it was a great win, but I know that the Cats cannot take that win out of proportion. It was a win. It helps them in the standings. They just need to take it as that, keep going, keep building off of it, not take it as anything bigger than a win.
And then moving on, January 20th, which is a night that I'm calling the night of upsets. Heritage beats Rogers. Rogers is still winless on the season now, and what I consider that an upset, as well as HAR-BER beats Bentonville West. So the night of upsets, I mean, Richard, what do you think about this night of upsets?
Well, obviously beating Bentonville West is one of the harder things to do when you're in a league like this for the 6A West boys. But looking at how Springdale HAR-BER has been doing over the past couple games, especially beating Fayetteville and having a pretty good game plan going on so far, I definitely think that this game proved that HAR-BER isn't a joke anymore. HAR-BER isn't a team where you're like, oh well. HAR-BER should be considered favorites.
Yes, I would say the term I use is called a cupcake. And I don't think there's a single cupcake in this league. And Fott and Scott, you can disagree or agree with me, whatever you like, but I just don't think there's a cupcake in this league.
No, I really don't think there's a cupcake. And going back to that Heritage versus Rogers game, I think that was an upset. I mean, Heritage won 47-42, but I don't know. Rogers is not a team. I mean, they lost to Bentonville, who is sitting at the 2 spot right now. They lost to Bentonville by 1. Lost to HAR-BER earlier this week by 5. It just seems to be like they have all the right pieces, and seems to even show that they're a good team. But then I don't know. Dropping that one to Heritage is just kind of wild to me.
Can't allow that to happen for sure. And then let's talk more about the West versus HAR-BER game. West undefeated with was undefeated, I should say, with very good wins against the Springdale Bulldogs, the Bentonville Tigers, some very solid wins. And they proved themselves as the outright 1 seed, and now that's a little bit in question. Scott, tell us about this.
Well, the whole entire game, it looked like HAR-BER was just in control. Never seemed like West was going to be able to get back into it. Maybe there would have been a little bit of a scare, but, I mean, winning by 15, that's unheard of, especially if it's a usually 3 or 4 ranked team in the conference beating the 1. It's just, that doesn't happen very often.
Speaking of the Bentonville West Wolverines, I went down and sat with Coach Greg White, the head coach of the Bentonville West Wolverines boys team, right before the HAR-BER game, and got to talk to him about a lot of what his team is really gelling on this year. But before that, we've obviously got to take a quick commercial break, so refill your popcorns and drinks, because the Inside the 6A will be right back.
Try the 3-and-3 meal at Slim Chickens. 3 hand-breaded chicken tenders paired with 3 perfectly fried wings, shaken in your choice of house flavors. Served with fries, Texas toast, and a medium drink. Slim Chickens. Fresh, delicious chicken.
Hi, this is Donald Tucker, the voice of the HAR-BER Wildcats. Are you looking for a new career? Would you like to become a professional truck driver? The CDL Training School in Taneytown, Arkansas is open and accepting new students. You can earn your CDL in just 3 short weeks with employment after you finish school, and PAM Transport will cover your tuition. You will train in the same equipment that you will drive once you earn your CDL. Plus, students also receive a $100 weekly stipend during training. Don't wait another minute. Call PAM Transport today at 888-498-2549.
Joe and Larry here with Sam's Furniture. We just wanted to thank you for your business and to let you know that your purchase helps serve so many people.
That's right. The culture here at Sam's is to love and serve others in our community and around the globe. So when you buy at Sam's, part of your purchase goes to support one of the many organizations we partner with.
You enable us to invest in our children, teachers, veterans, development in Africa, and distributing wheelchairs to those in need around the world. You are a part of this. So from the Sam's Furniture family to yours, thank you.
Accidents are never planned, but no matter how small, every emergency that involves a child is a big deal. It's everything. That's why we're here. Arkansas Children's Northwest offers the only pediatric emergency room in Northwest Arkansas, with fast access, pediatric experts, and kid-sized care. Peace of mind when you need it most.
Arkansans appreciate community. We work and raise families, care for our neighbors, and come together in good times and bad. At First Security, that local strength is what we love best about our home state. There is commitment here, and heart, and hope. Thank you to everyone who is standing together, learning from one another, and making Arkansas a place we all love to call home. We're proud to be your community bank.
Welcome, and joining us now in the gym studio for the first time is head coach of the Bentonville West Wolverines, Coach Greg White. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, this is awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, and you coach a 17-1 team with a undefeated 6-0 conference record. I mean, tell us about how you've achieved this success so far.
To be honest with you, we're kind of shocked by it too. We play a really tough schedule, not including the conference. Just our non-conference is really tough, and we got to play in some big events. And I was telling everybody, if we were 6-6 at Christmas, I'd be happy and be sitting here with you right now at 17-1, and then not even talking about conference 6-0. Like we've kind of outdone ourselves, and so we're proud of our team and our coaching staff. We feel like they've all done a good job for us, and I just get to sit here and visit with you about it.
Yeah, and you talk about that. You go from a 19-7 record last year with a pretty star-studded team with Riley Pacino as well as Tucker Anderson, and then you've kind of already on track to surpass that this year. I mean, what changed?
I think the big thing for us, starting the program was we never thought we'd get to this point without a lot of good players. We just didn't know if we were going to get those players because this league has been so good. And like you talk about Riley, it's always been our older guys kind of teaching our younger guys what to do, how to act, how to play. And so I just get to step back and coach it. And so those older guys, they still call, they come to our game. We got our 100th win as a program this year. We had 22 former players show up, guys that are graduated, have careers, took off, came back into town. So it really is a program thing for us, and that kind of explains how we got here.
Yeah, and then you talked about Riley Pacino, so did I. The leading scorer, I think, in Bentonville West history. You lose him coming into this season. You've got Tucker Anderson returning. You've got Dawson Price returning. I mean, how did you kind of reshape your team into what they are now?
And, Riley was the obvious one, because he was such a great player, leading scorer in our school history. We had Cade Pagnett, who was at 10 points a game. We didn't know how we were going to find these points because Dawson was around 6, and right now he's almost at 14, our second leading scorer. Mm-hmm. His improvement has been what has been astonishing for us, and that just comes from time in the gym and buy-in. And guys, every year we talk about we're going to graduate our best player. And who's going to be the next guy. And it's not a selfish thing for these guys. They just know this is what we do. This is how we do it. It's my turn. I'm going to step in, and now we've got a group of JV guys and younger guys watching it happen. And so it feels like they're starting to build toward that.
Mm-hmm. And then Tucker Anderson, 23 points per game, as you told me right before this. A very dominant player. I've seen some dunks from him. I've seen some threes from him. He's very versatile. How important has his impact been to how your season outcome has been?
I think his change, he started for us this will be his 3-year starter. As a sophomore and junior, he didn't shoot 100 free throws through the season. He had 100 at Christmas. So he's become more of a basket attacker and really kind of the weight room and just the confidence of I'm going to score and you can't stop me. Mm-hmm. And so he's gone from being just a shooter to attacking the rim and really playing it, as whatever we need is where he goes and gets those points.
Mm-hmm. And then this is one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most stacked leagues that we've seen in a while, with a bunch of top-tier teams. You've got right now a 6-1 Bentonville team and a 5-1 Springdale team on your coattails. I mean, how do you look to maintain that one spot and maintain your undefeated record?
Well, we need some help. I mean, I know, we need, not tonight, we don't need a Wildcat win, but we need those guys to go back and, they've played great all year. And I told Coach Deppel, I think they're a top 3 team. There's 7 teams fighting for 6 spots right now, and it's increased. And if you look across the state, there's probably 10 that could win it. And so for us, it's just coming out every night, knowing we're in uncharted territory for us. We've never been the top seed. We've always been the one chasing those guys. So coming out with great effort, the HAR-BER teams that we played against in the past when we first started, like those guys, there's plenty of lessons and examples of how to do it. We're just trying to do it our own way and still be successful doing it too.
And this is pretty simple because, everybody wants to do it. But now that you've kind of reached the halfway point, what's your expectations for the rest of it? And what's your goals to kind of how do you want to end the season?
Well, we've got a tough stretch coming starting tonight with HAR-BER, and then with the 9-team league, it's kind of thrown everybody in them because we're used to all having the same night off, and now we just had our night off, and so now we go through a stretch where after HAR-BER tonight we have Fayetteville, and then we go on another murderous stretch where we finish with Northside, Fayetteville, Bentonville, Springdale, and then HAR-BER again, and so we've had a favorable schedule early. We've had a lot of home games. We've stolen one on the road with Bentonville. So for us, it's just I know it's cliche, but take one game at a time, and for us right now, we know we're getting everybody's best shot, being the number 1 seed. And so that's something that kind of keeps our guys grounded and focused. But it's going to be a fun 6A conference for everyone. State tournament's here in Rogers, so it's going to be a great state tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun for everybody.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate you, man.
And that's going to do it for this interview with head coach of the Bentonville West Wolverines, Greg White.
Goodbye, guessing. Hello, confidence. So long, stress. Hello, security. Farewell, running to the bank. Hello, banking from anywhere. Get a quick view of your balance, block lost debit cards, and quickly deposit checks anywhere, anytime with the highly rated Arvest Go mobile app from Arvest Bank. Goodbye, limits. Hello, possibilities.
Ozarks Go from Ozarks Electric Cooperative is leading the fiber revolution, connecting the divide with high-speed broadband access to close that gap. From cloud to cloud, post to post, from downtown to way out of town, to connect our customers to a world of blazing speed and access to absolutely everywhere. It's our customers connected.
No matter what kind of car you drive, 2 things are always true. All tires eventually need replacing and all vehicles need servicing. Luckily for you, Big O Tires is an expert in both. We have all the name brand tires you trust for any vehicle on any road condition. And our expert services on alignment, shocks, struts, batteries, brakes, and more will keep your vehicle running as smooth as those new tires. Don't wait another day and take advantage of our good to no credit needed financing. Only at your local Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Now we're back and we got the power rankings that we do every single show. It's kind of become a staple of our show here. So we're going to have the personal power rankings, and I'm going to read you first. We're going to start with the girls, and I'm going to read you the actual rankings, and then we'll see if we like to mix it up a little bit here. So we've got the Fort Smith Northside Grizzlies standing at 6-1 at the 1 seed. The Rogers Heritage War Eagles at the 2 seed at 5-2. The Bentonville Tigers at the 2 seed, or at the 3 seed, I should say, at 5-2. Springdale HAR-BER Wildcats are sitting at the 4 seed at 5-2, so about a 3-way tie for those, as well as Rogers High Mounties at 3-3 at the 5 seed, 6 seed Fayetteville. Springdale is the 7 seed, Bentonville West 8, and Southside 9. So anybody disagree with how that, or maybe predict where maybe someone's going to end up?
Yeah, the only thing I think that I disagree with is having Heritage all the way up at that 2 seed. I'm not 100% sold on them. So what I have right now is I have Bentonville High School at 2 and HAR-BER at 3, and then Heritage at 4. But like we were talking about earlier in the show, those 3-4 teams, any of those teams could win it. It's very tied up at the top, but I agree with the rest of the power rankings.
And I think it's definitely more open than it has been in a while, because Northside's not undefeated anymore. So that 1 seed is definitely open for grabs.
Yeah, and I do agree with most of what Trevor was talking about with most of the power rankings, but I am going to give Rogers Heritage just a little bit slight advantage over Springdale HAR-BER just because of their overall record. Rogers Heritage has a 16-4 overall record, and compared to HAR-BER's 11-7, I definitely think Rogers right now is a better team, but that could change within a couple weeks with this, I believe, 5-win game streak that HAR-BER is on. I definitely think they can move up on those, and I think they will.
Yeah, someone joined me in saying this, Scott or Fod or Trevor. I completely disagree with that. I think HAR-BER High School is for sure my 2 seed, as they've beaten the War Eagles by a heavy amount, actually. It was a pretty good game. I watched it myself. So I think they're ahead of that. And then they had a really rough 4-game losing streak, which included Northside and Bentonville. But now that they've gotten their stuff together, they're on a 5-game win streak, they're got a flow. I think it's going to be a different ball game when it comes to Bentonville and Northside next time for the HAR-BER Wildcats.
Yeah, you watch.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I definitely think that HAR-BER has the upper hand on Northside next time, but I'm still not sure if they're going to have enough games. Like, that they can just jump over Northside and take over that 1 seed. Because I feel like it's more of like a 1 or 3 ball game. Because I do think Bentonville is above Har-BER right now, and they looked really solid when they played Har-BER here. Like you said, though, it was during that losing streak, so maybe morale was a little low. So we'll have to see whenever Har-BER plays Bentonville again. That's a huge game.
Yeah, I think Har-BER's kind of got their mojo back. They're kind of feeling everything's clicking right now. I mean, they're putting up a lot of points, holding teams to low-scoring games. So for that, I'm going to have to put Har-BER in at the 2 seed. Still not my 1 seed just because of overall conference record and everything. But then, so I agree with Connor pretty much.
There we go. Someone finally agrees with me. Love to hear it. And let's segue over to the boys' side as we will get into it. As now we switch over to them, I'll read out the rankings as there is a little bit of a 3-way tie on this side as well. You got Bentonville West, Bentonville, Springdale all at 6-1, tied for the 1 seed. Bentonville West gets the advantage for the 1 seed, so they still remain it. As they have both beaten Bentonville and Springdale, and you can thank that to Har-BER High School, who put them in that predicament. Har-BER High School at the 4 seed at 5-2, Fort Smith's Northside at 3-4 at the 5 seed. Then it goes Fayetteville 6, Southside 7, Heritage and Rogers round out the 8 and 9 spots. So who thinks this is going to shake up a little bit?
Well, I definitely think that with the way also for Har-BER, with the way the boys been playing, I definitely think that right now we have a 3-way tie for that number 1 slot with Bentonville West, Bentonville, and Springdale. But with the way Har-BER's been playing right now, I definitely think they can capitalize on some of those higher ranking teams. And they will eventually move up on those rankings. But as for the bottom 5 teams, I definitely think they're going to stay around that range. I don't think they're performing too well right now, but with those top teams, Har-BER can definitely beat those. And they have beat Bentonville West already, which is statistically the best team for the boys in the 6A West, and I think they can do it again.
Yeah, I think I see Springdale at the end winning the conference. Now, it may just come down to a tiebreaker, maybe by a game. Oof. But I think it's going to be very tight from here to the end. But I have Springdale at 1, and then I'm not 2, 3, and 4. I see West, Har-BER, and Bentonville all about the same. So I have Har-BER at 3 right now, West at 2 just because of that game advantage, and then Bentonville at 4.
Yeah, and I have no problem with that. I definitely think Springdale right now is a very exciting team to watch, very explosive. You love to see Springdale play. So I have no problem with that, Trevor, but yeah, I can definitely get behind that.
A little bit of problem with it, but I'll table that.
You have a problem with everything, Connor. It's always a problem.
Okay.
So it's always a problem with you.
I'll give it to Scott and let him talk about his problems with it.
Thank you. Definitely Springdale is not one. I don't know where you think
I don't think it is either. I agree with you completely. I don't think Springdale is the 1 seed. I think they're too inexperienced to be the 1 seed.
Yeah. I never said they were the 1 seed. That was Trevor, but I definitely think they can do that.
You completely agreed with them.
No, I didn't completely agree. Even with this Har-BER, even with Bentonville West's loss to Har-BER, I still have Bentonville up there. Maybe Springdale's 3 or 2, but they're not my 1 seed so far. I just like watching them. I think they can move to that number 1 spot if they keep playing how they've been playing this season. That's all I'm saying. Scott, back to you with whatever you were going to say about how Springdale's obviously not number 1.
Here's the thing.
I think, I was saying, you don't know. It's 1 through 4. Any of those 4 I could win. I think it's a little bit harder of a stretch for Har-BER because they still have to go to Bentonville and Bentonville West. But it's a real tough schedule. But I just think Springdale, they're going to find a way to pull it out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but for my rankings, I'm just gonna keep it simple, try and be unbiased. Keep Bentonville West 1, Bentonville 2, Springdale 3, I guess, us 4, Northside 5, Fayetteville 6. But then I guess I really want to put Rogers in at that 7 seed, even though they're 0-7 right now, and then the rest too doesn't really matter to me. But I'm just
personally, I feel West definitely has to stay up at the 1. I don't care they lost 1 game. It just depends on how they bounce back in this next week. Har-BER currently is on a 4-game winning streak. 4 very difficult, well, not really difficult, well-played games. The Fayetteville one was close, but then the rest of the games, they've basically imposed their will on the other team, gone out and win. I think if they can carry this streak on, they can jump into that 2 knock down Bentonville and Springdale down a spot and stay in around that 2 seed.
Well, I mean, I've got a hot take here, but I think the Har-BER Wildcats should be undefeated. I've talked with people about it. I've had so many conversations as a commentator. I've watched all the games, and Har-BER had the win secured against Bentonville going into the fourth quarter, and Bentonville comes back out of nowhere, has a 31-point fourth quarter. We talked about it last show, and upsets the Wildcats. And then they had a 6-point lead against the Springdale Bulldogs and lost that one. So I think the Wildcats should honestly be undefeated in conference play, but they were not able to pull out those 2 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely, heard talk of that, but you got to give credit where credit's due. And Bentonville and Springdale are 2 good teams. Definitely, Har-BER should have won the game against Bentonville at home. I mean, having a 20-plus point lead is just choking really is what happened. That's ridiculous. But
interesting to see that come from you.
We should
that take come from you.
I know we should at least Har-BER should at least be 7-1 in my opinion. Definitely shouldn't have handed that game to Bentonville like we did.
I think that's exactly what you said.
I think the only game that the Wildcats should have lost, and really they shouldn't have lost the Springdale game anyways. I'll tell you that environment, because I was at that Springdale game. That environment, it was loud, and it got louder as the night went on. So I think that's really what
they
helped
had that
Springdale.
band in the student section.
Yeah, I couldn't hear myself think commentating. It was tough. But that is our power rankings. I think everybody got an opportunity to give theirs and see what happens. So we're going to head to a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back here with some upcoming matchups, and we'll give our predictions for those. The Inside the 6A, we'll be right back.
When getting a mortgage, you need a team that is dependable. With over 50 years of combined experience, Advantage One Mortgage LLC are here for your needs. They also offer cash-out refinancing and free pre-approval. If you have questions regarding income, credit, or funds to close, call us today.
Good old Mother Nature and time. 2 elements that are unforgiving to any fence. At Sands Fencing, we know Northwest Arkansas can have some crazy weather. That's why we build beautiful quality custom fences designed to stand strong against time and weather. Whether you're new in town or your roots run deep, here's the number you need to keep. Call Sands Fencing today. Get a Sands fence at your place.
It's Smoothie King time.
Learn to love your ride again at Tommy's Express Car Wash in Springdale. At Tommy's Express, our state-of-the-art wash tunnel is the perfect size for practically any vehicles, regardless of size or shape. Our industry-leading wash uses low energy and reclaimed water, making your vehicle clean while being green. You can skip the line while getting great deals and discounts when you download the Tommy Club app. Sign up today for your first month of unlimited washing. Loving your ride is that easy when you go to Tommy's Express Car Wash in Springdale.
Fall means a lot of things to a lot of people. Falling leaves, pumpkin patches, football games, cozy sweaters, and most importantly, comfort food. A good place to start is with Tyson Pork Roast, high-quality protein that delivers flavor and value for your home team. Pick up your boneless pork loin roast at your local Walmart for that perfect family gathering on game day or any day. Keep it real, keep it Tyson.
Your pet gives you companionship, friendship, and love. At Whole Pet, we are an independently owned business that is passionate about helping you give your pet their best life. We have a great selection of nutritious foods and healthy treats, and when you join our loyalty program, you can earn free bags of food. Spoil your pet with our luxurious spa and grooming services. And while you are at it, grab one of the latest toys to add even more fun and excitement to your pet's day. Whole Pet. Visit our locations in Springdale, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, and our new location coming soon in Bentonville.
Hometown. That word still means something here. It means we're neighbors. We do the right thing. We care about your family. And you deserve the very best every time you walk in the front door. HAR-BER, hometown fresh.
If you need that love, support, somebody to push you, to tell you can do it, I would tell them to come to Pam Transportation. It's a family here. It's not just a regular company. They will look after you. They will show you that you are important, you are welcome here.
Welcome back to the Inside of 6A, everyone. And right now we are going to make our predictions for the next upcoming games. Connor, would you like to start us off?
I would love to start us off here. I would love it so much. And let's preface this by saying that the games that on the January 24th, we talked about it earlier, are postponed officially, and as far as I know, officially postponed to January 30th. That's on a Monday, I think, of next week. So yes, it'll be next Monday. So that is going to be fun. We had some really fun games in that stretch. We had what was going to be Bentonville versus Springdale. Hello, good game. As well as Fort Smith Northside and Heritage was going to be a fun game girls-wise. That was going to be a really good one. And then Fayetteville at Bentonville West, that would have been a very good boys game to watch. So we had a whole onslaught of games that were postponed to the January 30th. So I think I'll be pretty active on the 30th watching those games. And now we've got on the Friday, so that is tonight, we've got in the girls lineup, so we've got Springdale versus HAR-BER, fun one always, because it's just the matchup of Springdale versus HAR-BER. Mm-hmm. Then you've got Northside versus Rogers. Rogers, the upset kings this season, so if they can take down the 1 seed, that 1 seed becomes so much more open if Rogers can upset them in girls basketball, as well as Bentonville versus Fayetteville. That should be a fun one as well.
And I'm calling it. I definitely think Rogers will beat Northside on Friday, just because they have a really good momentum going on. They know that they are the upset kings. They know they definitely have the team. They have all the pieces to beat one of those top teams. They've showed it, and I definitely think they can beat Northside. And I would love to see that one slot open up for the rest of the 6A girls, because that division, that conference is just super competitive right now. Super exciting to watch. So
not a cupcake.
Not a cupcake. Just like you said. So my upset take, my hot take alert, taking Rogers over Northside for that Friday game.
Can we make a graphic? We put it on there. Hot
just
take
like
alert.
A hot take with my
for
face.
Richard Largaspada right there.
Rogers just got 40-piece by HAR-BER earlier this week.
That is very true.
In my mind, there's no way that Northside gives this game up.
That is very true, because I think if you can have all the momentum you want, but when you get 40-pieced by a team that is
just very
good, but still sitting, it's very demoralizing. Very.
But I think the closest game that will be a close game for, I give it about a half. It's gonna be close, but then Northside, I think they're gonna take over and they're gonna win that game by, I'd say, probably about 20, at least, is what I think.
Yeah.
Ooh, there we go. I better hope Rogers isn't watching. They see that as a challenge. But and then you talk about Tuesday's game. That's going to be next Tuesday, right after the Monday game. So there could be some double headers here, as they it could be back-to-back nights. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Fayetteville versus HAR-BER. That'll be a fun one in girls basketball, as well as Bentonville versus Heritage. I cannot wait for that game. I am so excited for that game. It should be such a fun one in girls basketball.
Yeah, you have two of those top 3 seeds in the, I believe, according to that, according to the standings, those are 2 of the top 3 spots in that conference. Definitely going to be an exciting game. I can't wait to see it. It could go either way, in my opinion. It could go to Bentonville or Heritage, but I mean, I think I'm just going to give, just slightly biased, I do enjoy watching Bentonville more. I'm just going to give it to them. I just like them more. But that's just my thing. There's no solid evidence behind it. It's just how I feel about it.
I think what you're saying here, Richard, it's a 50-50 game no matter what. But I think, like last time, Bentonville, they're going to be upset going into that knowing they lost in double overtime to Heritage. But I just think Heritage has been playing some good ball lately. I think Heritage gets the win, and I think it's going to be close again. I don't think it's going to go to overtime, but that's one of those games. It'll probably be the closest game next week.
Now, I will bring up a point here. The Rogers Heritage War Eagles, if they do play on January 30th, if that postponement date is correct, That's what I've heard from sources. If they do, that means they have a doubleheader against the 2 top teams in the 6A West. They will play Northside on Monday and Bentonville on Tuesday. That is going to be tough for the Bentonville or for the Rogers Heritage Warriors.
Yeah, with that new matchup into perspective, it definitely is going to make things tough, especially since Bentonville lost in such fashion last time. And so I think they're going to have that bad taste in their mouth and going to punch Heritage right in the face, and I think they're going to win. Double digits.
And then if Heritage punches Northside in the face, then the 1 seed is open. I mean, there's so many scenarios right now where the 1 seed could be popped open, like kind of the Wildcats popped open the 1 seed in the boys. And speaking of boys, let's get to the matchups. Let's bring up Scott Porter into the boys. We'll keep Trevor Lawson on and keep on Fontanopolis. As now we got some boys. Richard, introduce us some boys matchups coming up.
So on Friday, we're going to have Springdale versus HAR-BER. Again, super exciting matchup. Woo! We saw that matchup last time at Springdale. Kept it super, super close. It ended up being a 3-point or 4-point win for Springdale. But this time it's going to be at HAR-BER's house. So we're going to see how much that affects how the players play. And then after that same Friday, we're also going to have Bentonville versus Fayetteville. And then that Tuesday, it will be Fayetteville versus HAR-BER, a rematch. And what do you think of those matchups, Connor?
Well, I think it's going to be some fun. It's going to be a fun night of basketball on Friday. I can tell you, or tonight, I should say. Should be a very fun night of basketball, especially if you're in the city of Springdale. That's going to be a fun one. And it's the battle of the city, so it's always going to be fun. It's like when the LA Clippers play the LA Lakers or the Rams play the Chargers. It's going to be a fun game no matter the team.
Yeah, I think the benefit has to go. You would want to say HAR-BER's way here because that play it's going to be loud because it's homecoming night for the Wildcats tonight. You want to obviously get that win for your because it's going to be the biggest student section you're going to have for HAR-BER most likely all year. And it's an early game. It's a 6 o'clock game, so it's going to be they're going to be lively. They're going to be ready for that boys game. There's going to be hype up to it. So I think HAR-BER does pull off the upset here.
Yeah, and I do think that the fact that it is homecoming night, that's super overlooked as far as a momentum boost for HAR-BER. Remember, in that last game, HAR-BER was consistently up by a few points. Then they managed to keep their lead up until the very end of that game. With this momentum boost, like you said, this will probably be one of our biggest student sessions we ever had because it is homecoming night. We're going up against Springdale. It's going to be a super fun game. I definitely think that this time HAR-BER will gain a bigger lead over Springdale and actually come out on top very easily.
Yeah, it's definitely a must-win for HAR-BER because, we beat Bentonville West at home. HAR-BER just beat Rogers at home. We had the lead against Bentonville at home and then obviously choked it away. But it's proven that HAR-BER plays good defense and wins at home. So it's going to be interesting to see the crosstown rivals come in. And after HAR-BER just proved, a big upset win against West, it's going to be interesting to see those teams go at it. But I mean, I'm a little biased, so obviously I'm going to pick HAR-BER. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of impossible not to play good defense when you have 15-year-old girls from the stands going like, D up, D up, D up.
Hey, you got the energy there. That's what they're there for. That's their job. And you got them on the sidelines,
that's
too.
That's going to be what, if HAR-BER's going to want to win this game, they're going to have to play HAR-BER's brand of basketball. I think that's what lost it for them against Bentonville. They tried to play too fast. In that second half, it just slipped away. Maybe they played a little bit too much to the crowd. I don't really know. I think that Bentonville, I'm going to say it, they got lucky that night. I don't think Springdale's going to be fortunate enough to get that lucky against HAR-BER tonight. So we'll have to see. HAR-BER just needs to play some good, solid defense and use the shot clock like they did well against Bentonville West, holding Bentonville West to 35.
And Scott, I mean, what do you think about this?
Well, HAR-BER, I believe, is on a 3-game losing streak. They're on a 3-game losing streak to Springdale?
HAR-BER won last year at home, so they were on a 2-game losing streak because last year Springdale did their homecoming game on
There's
HAR-BER,
always going to be
so
bad blood between those two teams.
Bad blood there too when Springdale won in double overtime.
Old Town hate, I like it. Okay, and then also on Tuesday, Fayetteville goes up against HAR-BER again, and people are really counting out Fayetteville at this point in the season, where they sit currently. Let's see it. They currently sit at the 6th seed. So people are counting them out, but they forget that they have more net games.
The 6 seed. Yeah, well, I just think Fayetteville is very explosive. They can light on fire anytime. They're that match that can just spark real quick. But they've proven over the course of this season that they just can't win against good teams. I mean, against HAR-BER, super close game. Bentonville, super close game. Northside came into their gym, beat them by 1. It's just Fayetteville has been struggling against all these good teams. They're obviously a good team. They're Fayetteville. They have Ornette Gaines, one of the best players in the league. Reigning conference champions last year. And so there's a lot of pressure on them to win these good games and to win these close games against these good teams. And I just think that, I don't know if it's the pressure or what, but they're just having this tough time. And so I think whenever Fayetteville comes into HAR-BER's house, HAR-BER's already beat them at their place. So I think HAR-BER's with the home court advantage. I think they'll take that one too.
And Connor, you're probably going to be mad at me too, but I am one of those people that is right now counting Fayetteville out. I'm sorry. Let me look at this one more time. You have Bentonville West, Bentonville, Springdale, HAR-BER, and Northside all over Fayetteville right now. And I just feel like, back to what Fat was saying, they can't capitalize on some of those teams that are higher in the rankings because some of those teams are way more complete. Yes, Fayetteville's much more exciting to watch, but overall they just cannot cap off on those teams that are well organized.
Especially the Wildcats, they lost in a buzzer beater basically to Jackson Conley. I mean, they've let a lot of games slip out of their hands. But at the same time, I will admit, last show I said the Fayetteville Bulldogs were sitting at the 4 seed. I ranked them at the 4 seed. I thought they would be in that. I'm going to retract my statement. This is a rare thing for me to do here. I'm going to say the Wildcats have the advantage. They proved it to me with that Bentonville West Wolverine game. And I think the Wildcats can finish as high as the 2 seed and as low as the 4 seed. I think they've kind of locked that in. They've proven themselves. Coach Deffenbaugh has coached his rear end off this season. So they've got it gelling, and West has got to get it back gelling. That's for sure. And that seems like we talked the last show, doesn't it, Richard?
Yeah, I didn't believe that it could get any better from that last show, but I definitely can agree that the show just went better as it went on.
And that's all we've got today for this second episode of Inside the 6A. I'm Connor Jenkins.
And I'm Richard Largaspada. See you next time.
Frozen while I stay in motion. I'ma pass you up while you stop and smell the roses. Pure devotion, you just get your toes in. Leave you in the past. I was built for the moment.
In the corner,
unfazed. Tie game for
launches it from half court. Gets it to fall. Andrew with the half court heave.
If it didn't break me, it only made me stronger. What's passion?
She'll go inside, won't be deterred, and gets the layup. Another jumper, gets it to fall. Valencia is scoring at will right now.
You just gotta keep going, that's the game, that's the game.
Big W, you know what I'm saying? We're sitting on that.
Who in here trying to start a riot? Who in here trying to start a riot? Who in here trying to start it? Who that flying in the air? That ain't no flying saucer. I'm shooting webs like worldwide. Manhattan all the way to Yonkers. When they say Brooklyn, stand up. You better just fix your posture. And every hero needs his theme song. So who in here trying to start a riot? Who in here trying to start a riot? Who in here trying to start it? Every day is like a sticky situation when evil's looking for a chance. And I know we are the newest generation. We got the power in our hands. Web slinging through the trenches.
I'm coming through with my crew to make a play. I don't need no super suit, I'm feeling.
When I say Brooklyn, stand up. You better just fix your posture. And every hero needs this theme song. So
Hood here, try to start it. Hood here, try to start it.
bang.